We are learning Mishnah Gittin, Perek Hey, Chapter 5, Mishnah Beis, Mishnah 2. Ein Nefrayim and Achasim Mishabadim. One does not collect from Nechasim Mishabadim. We'll translate that as from sold properties. B'makom sheyesh nechasim b'nei chayrin, when there are free or unsold properties available. Afilu hein siburis, even if the available properties are only from the lowest quality. All right, so we learned previously that if you're collecting for damages, you collect from the best field of the one who got damaged can take the best field of the one who did the damaging. If you're collecting a debt, then you can collect the Baininus, the medium quality field of the person who owes you the money. And woman's ksuba gets from ziburis from the lowest quality. Now, the Mishnah is saying that when it comes, there's a halacha like this. When you owe somebody money, so there's a lien that's put on your property that says that if you sell the property after already the debt was incurred, that you have a lien on the field, and you can now take the field away from the buyer. Now, that is only going to take place if there's a way for people to know about this. For instance, if the loan is in a document, then we say you can even go to, meaning you can go take that land that had a lien on it. You can go to the buyer and take it away from him. But it has to be a situation where we can say that you, when you bought this field, you knew about this, or you should have known about this debt, you should have known about this lien, and you took your chances anyway. But under situations where we can't expect that, like if it's a debt without a IOU, it's just oral, then that doesn't work. I believe in the case when it comes to damages is something that gets around, people know about that, and therefore, again, the person should have been aware that there is a lien on this field. Now, the point of this Mishnah, now, the only thing is, though, that the only time you have a right to go to the buyer and take away his fields from him because of the lien you have on it is if the person who owes you the money doesn't have any fields on his own anymore. But meaning, as we said, person borrows money, he's supposed to pay back either in cash or movables. If he doesn't, then he pays back with his fields, with his real estate, with his land. Now we're saying that if that land was sold after the debt was incurred, there's a lien on it, then you can take it away from the buyer. But you can only take it away from the buyer if there are no more fields left by the person who owes you the money. But if, let's say, that person who owes you the money does have fields left, then you can't take it away from the buyer. You have to take it away from the person who owes you the money. Now, as we just said, the halacha is that if you're collecting for damages, you can actually take from the best field of the person who did the damaging. But what if the situation is that the only field that the person who damaged you has left that is not unsold is field that's of the lowest quality? He sold to somebody else the highest quality field, and the only field that he has left by him is the lowest quality field. What happens then? I mean, we said before that you have the right to collect the best of his fields. Nonetheless, the Mishnah says that as long as there are unsold fields available, that is what you have to take, even if it is from the lowest quality. Because you cannot take that, that's the rule. You only take from sold property because of the lien that you have. You can only collect that if there are no other properties available by the person who lends you the money. And that's going to be whether we're talking about collecting for damages or collecting for a loan, even though you may have had, if it wouldn't have been sold, we'll say the sold field was of the better property that you had the right to collect from if you wouldn't have sold it, but now that he sold it and there are unsold properties, they may not be as good as the ones that you could have taken, but if that's what's available, that's what you have to take. That's the first part of the Mishnah. The next part of the Mishnah is when you collect land from orphans, you can only collect from ziburis, from the lowest quality land available. Now, so let's explain this. Let's get into this a little bit more. Here we're talking about a situation like this. A person who is owed money may generally collect from the debtor's real estate even after the debtor has died. That's the first step. The guy died, I can still collect my debt from his estate. Right? Now, In the case of one who suffered damage, although he's entitled to land of high quality during the damager's lifetime, he may take only poor quality land from the damager's orphans. This law was enacted for the benefit of young orphans who are incapable of taking care of their own affairs. They're young kids, they're young orphans, they don't know what's going on in their father. They didn't know what's going on in their, it's hard. They're not really capable of taking care of the affairs of their father, which again is on them because of the lien that's on the properties. But at the end of the day, because of the fact they're incapable of taking care of their affairs, to make things easier for them, the rabbis allowed them to pay with land of poor quality. So they will have to pay. The father had a debt. The guy's coming. He has an IOU. He has to pay. And now he's going to get his collections from the land, from land. So he's going to have a right to take that collection, but the only collection he can make is from the poor quality. Even though typically in the lifetime of the person who owed him the money, of the damager, he could have taken his best field, and that best field is available. We're not talking about that you sold it. It's available. It's there. But nonetheless, the Chachamim instituted for the benefit of the orphans that you can only take their poorest quality field. Okay? Now, what's interesting is that we have two cases here, right? We have a case of where we have a damaging case, we have a case where you owe money. Now we're saying also, if the person who died owed you money, and you're going to collect from the property of the estate that's by the orphans, you're only going to be able to collect from the lowest quality, which we would say lowest quality means, it would sound like we would, for the same reason that, we have mercy on the orphans. They don't really know how to take care of the affairs of the estate. We have mercy on them. They only have to give the lowest quality field. But they point out here, very interestingly, that in this case, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be different in the understanding. Practically speaking, it's the same thing, but the understanding behind it is different. And that is the following. In the case of a borrower who died, the reason is different. As stated in the Mishnah 1, note 4, biblical law permits a borrower to pay with the land of poor quality. It was the rabbis who required him to pay with land of medium quality. Remember that? According to Torah law, you want to pay back your creditor, pay back with the least quality land. The Chachamim said people are not going to want to lend money then. So therefore, we said up it up a notch, and you can collect from the medium quality. Okay, that was the reason. Therefore, to encourage people to lend money, the rabbis gave a lender the right to collect land of medium quality. This concern, however, does not apply after the borrower's death, because a potential lender would not go so far as to worry about what might happen if the borrower dies before paying. Meaning, how far are we going to extend our concern about people's concern about landing up with not such great stuff? Are they going to think even as far as, well, if the guy dies, then I'm going to, what will happen then? What's going to happen then? Meaning if you say that when the guy dies, go back to the Torah law, that you only can collect from the worst fields. Are we going to be afraid that that's also going to cause people not to lend money? And the answer is no. People don't think as far, well, what happens if the guy dies? They don't think that far. And therefore, what could happen after he dies is not going to be something on their mind that would prevent them from lending the money. For this reason, the rabbi said that once the borrower dies, there is no need for the rabbinic decree. Rather, the biblical law, which allows payment of poor land, is restored. So it's not so much like the favor to the orphans, as much as saying that the whole reason for the enactment of giving the creditor the medium quality field is irrelevant when the borrower dies. And therefore, when it comes to dealing with the orphans, it goes back to the regular law, the regular Torah law, that collections for a debt can only be made from the lowest quality land. Now, they also add here, interestingly, this reason applies even where the orphans are adults and can take care of their own affairs. Meaning, where they, the whole reason, meaning, even if you're talking about, those, we said before, in the case of damages, where we said, we want to be nice to the orphans because they can't take care of their own affairs, so we'll take it easier on them. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, this law that we just said, that when it comes to paying from the Yisayimim, it only comes from the lowest quality, right, is even going to deal with adults that can take care of their own affairs, but they are orphans, which means to say, I believe, they're still dependent on this estate. It's not like they're, self-sufficient outside of that. So they're still seen as orphans, just after adults that can take care of their affairs. Nonetheless, the halacha is that we say that even for these adults, even for the adults can take care of their affairs, the reason applies, and therefore the halacha is that the creditor can only collect from the lowest quality field. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.